Beverages with Brad.
Welcome to Beverages with Brad, everybody. I'm here with my guest, Peter Jeffrey, the owner of Triforce MMA. And he has come on such an exciting day where Rhode Island is about to close and all our hopes and dreams are about to be smashed.
Yeah, we're going to get smashed even further than we already know. What you thought you were doing yesterday, you're probably not going to be doing today.
So, yeah, one of the reasons I wanted to have you on for a couple of reasons. One, obviously, is the martial arts and my interest in that, but also because as a business owner, a local business owner, and an owner of a gym, this is like a real tough time. So those are the main two reasons. I'm like, let's get in this guy's head, see what you're thinking right now.
It's interesting that out of all the things, I never thought I'd see gyms become the number one
illegal
enemy of the state. Like,
illegal. Don't you dare exercise.
Well, if you look at it, it's like, okay, 2020, they're going to make weed legal, but they're going to make exercise illegal. You're like, well, what are you talking about? Like, would that ever happen? Like, that's crazy if somebody told you that 5 years ago. Like, shut up.
Yeah.
Now?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's actually exactly what happens.
I said that to my dad as far as my job in entertainment. I said, Dad, I would have never thought, like, yeah, of course I'm going to lose gigs and I might have to, like, hustle to get work. But I was like, entertainment's been around forever. Like, they had fire breathers and magicians and court jesters. Like, I never thought, like entertainment would become illegal.
Apparently, that's the world we're living in now. Unless you have your own, unless you're on TikTok or you got a cool show like this. And
yeah, well, the only problem is nobody watches it.
Well, they're gonna watch this.
That's it. When they hear you're on,
tune in. At least you might get some of my members on there. So, hey, hello to the team.
So, have you been doing martial arts your whole? Not sorry to jump subjects so quickly, but I've been curious how long you've been doing martial arts.
I've been, believe it or not, so it's real weird. I didn't do martial arts as a kid, like most people suspect. I've been doing it for about 20 years, and really got into Jujutsu and really what was NHB fighting back in like 2002. I started training.
That's no holds barred.
Yeah, that's everybody. What it was. That's what it was back in the day.
For all my chefs and jugglers watching, that's no hold barred. I had to think, I don't know what people do that watch this show. Clearly not much with their lives if they're tuning in.
So that's what it was, and it was the Old West back then.
Yeah, so, like the early UFC days and Pride and all that.
There was no reason to do it unless you really loved to be a martial artist because you were getting punched for like $100.
Wait, so was your first introduction to martial arts was right into the MMA? Like you didn't have any background like Kempo or even Judo
right into
or anything?
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh, you skipped all the bullshit.
So I was in music school. Yeah, exactly. I grew up playing hockey, so it was always a very physical family and always doing stuff. And then I was in music school, and you tend to my life was play music, teach music, study music, play music, teach, study, and just keep doing that. And then I felt like I needed an outlet. I don't like to just sit there and run. My younger brother, Keith, who I own the gym with, was like, hey, I'm doing this thing called Jiu-Jitsu, and we're doing privates in this guy's basement. You should come and check it out. So I was just like, all right, cool. Let me go check it out. And then I just saw a bunch of people flipping and trying to choke each other, and I was just like, this is hockey without the pads. Like
you were into it.
I'm in.
It's funny because your brother is more like, you take one look at him and you listen to him talk for like 2 seconds, you're like, okay, I could totally see this guy being into the MMA.
Yeah.
Where you're a little more soft-spoken, you're what's the word I'm looking for? A gentle soul?
Oh, thanks.
That's how you come across? So you're like walk softly, carry a big stick kind of guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or in your case, a little stick, but a very effective one.
Depends on who you're talking to.
Hey-o!
Yeah. I don't really know how people look at me. I try to live off the martial art and not try to make it seem like it's me doing it, but it's the success of the martial art that I'm showing people. And to me, that's a great selling point for martial arts.
Of course.
There's going to be girls that come in, there's going to be smaller guys that come in, and they're going to see some big guy do a move, and they'll be like, yeah, that's great. I'm sure you could do that move. But what about me? What happens if I'm going against you? So you get to a certain weight. I'm like 165 pounds.
Right.
I think it's a pretty good average guy sort of size where if people come in of all different sizes, I can sell them, hey, watch, I'll take the big guy. This does work, and it's not working because I'm going to tell you to go in the other room and lift weights for a while. It's going to work because, watch, this is the technique, and this is what we're looking for. So being a music guy, everything is theory and practice and theory and practice and theory and practice. So I noticed that martial arts and jiu-jitsu and mixed martial arts is the same exact thing. It's theory and practice, theory and practice. And if you're wiring your brain for it and not just trying to work hard and work harder than the other person and be bigger and be stronger and cut more weight, when it's not always about that, those are the people that do the best.
Yeah.
They're not killing themselves on a weight cut. It's not always about lifting weights and being the bigger, stronger person. I notice, and I'm a car guy too, so if you give me 600 horsepower, every time I'm at a stoplight, I'm gonna wanna step on that gas because it's awesome, right? So when people get bigger and stronger, and I notice this too, when you try to put on size and then you test your size out, you notice that your technique gets worse.
Right.
Because you pay more attention to trying to use what you have, but you eventually run out of gas.
Not to be stereotypical, but isn't that why women are better students?
100%.
Because they don't have all that macho bullshit. They're not
But they
like,
don't have the size.
like all strength. They're like focused on the actual technique and the art of it. Yeah.
They have to. And then picture that same woman coming into a class, and this is not a knock on a bigger instructor. They might be amazing. But the first look, they're going to be like, well, you're 245 pounds. I'm 105 pounds. Like, I see what you're doing there, but I'm not quite sure I believe it.
Yeah, yeah.
So being like,
which is why Hoist Gracie was such a great salesman for the
100%. Yeah, and that's why they picked him. That's why they picked him to go against in the open weight division, to go against all those guys.
Which leads me to my next question. Your 3 favorite martial artists.
Everybody has to start with Bruce Lee. So Bruce Lee for one. For 2, I'm going to say Chuck Norris, because Chuck Norris really became the modern day Bruce Lee, and he's 100% legit.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a fight organization back in the day, and obviously shout out to my coach, Carlos Machado. He's a black belt under Carlos Machado as well. Mm-hmm. So I know from actual stories that he did put the work in.
Right.
And he actually helped the Machado family get on the map here in the United States and get situated, and helped them out with their first school and saying, hey, you know what, I got something for you. And he presented them with an academy. Like, hey, you guys are so good, you've helped me out so much. I want you guys to have this place and continue to grow.
And he had all that Texas Walker Ranger money to throw around.
There you go.
Spin kicking people with cowboy boots. Okay, so that's 2. So you got Bruce and Chuck.
And then, man, a lot of other people at this point can fall a far second. So, like, honestly, I'll say one of my favorite is it's going to be my coach, Carlos Machado.
All right.
Because
that's 3 good answers right there. And I'm very happy to hear, because sometimes I've gotten criticism for my love of Bruce Lee from some of like Gary has busted my balls for
he
like
likes
Bruce
Batman,
Lee.
so
Yeah, he likes like cartoon characters in pajamas. So, but like, yeah, you get it. Like the philosophy that Bruce Lee had is what's been actualized in today's MMA, which is cool. It's about the philosophy.
And how big is he? Not big.
He was actually smaller than you. Yeah, he was like 130, I guess.
Exactly. And I think Chuck Norris is about my size as well. He's not that. Yeah. Maybe he's like 175, 180.
And when I took my first jiu-jitsu class, I was the height I'm at now, but like the weight you're at now. So you can imagine for me, and I've never been a strong or athletic guy. I'm just not. I'm not well coordinated. I'm a goofy dude. But when I saw Hoist Gracie, and I was like,
he's close to your
I was like, he's shaped like me, and he's like beating guys that are like 270 pounds. So so that's what made me fall in love with it too. Excellent. So all right, so my next question is, if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Reading people's mind.
See, that scares me a lot. That scares me, because in theory it sounds great.
Yeah.
But how much is that gonna fuck with you every day walking around? Do you know what I mean?
Well, because
people think
power,
some
it's
crazy shit.
Like what? I don't watch the news.
So you better get together with Professor X and learn how to hone that in. You know what I mean?
That's exactly it. If I have a superpower, I have to be able to control it, or it's not really a superpower.
Now you're married.
I am married. Yeah.
Doesn't that scare you to think you could listen to what she's thinking about you every day?
It would. So just
that's
like
a scary proposition.
But she would be amazed at how tuned in I would be, and how awesome. Like, oh my God, he knew I wanted that. Be like, there's a movie about that.
You're being very optimistic. I'm more so thinking of like when you're laying in bed, she's like, I think I'm going to stab him tonight.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, what?
Yeah. And I'm like, hey, you know what? I was thinking about sleeping downstairs. It's a little bit, or just fall asleep on the couch. You know? Like,
I don't know. It horrifies me.
Like
I don't even want to listen to my own thoughts half the time. Never mind everybody around me.
Like that.
Or when my wife wants to hit me with a frying pan or whatever. I don't think I want to know. But it's an interesting answer. And I like to ask that question because I get different answers all the time.
Why would I want that? Why would I want to be able to read people's minds?
Why would you want to be able to?
What do I do? I do
Jujutsu.
martial art and
So
fight.
you know every move ahead of
I already
time.
know what they're going to try to set me up
That's
for.
an interesting reason that you want to do it is specifically because, you'll be unbeatable because you always know what they're going to do before they do it.
But isn't that what they say about the best guys anyway? It's like every move I made, they already knew what I was going to do. I spend my entire life now trying to do exactly that, but I have to use visual cues and how feel and all that sort of stuff. But that's really what I'm doing.
It's mat time.
When we train other fighters, that's what we're doing. We're trying to stay ahead. We watch the tape of whoever we're fighting, if it's mixed martial arts or whatever it is, and you go back and you go, okay, they have a prone to do this. When they throw their right hand, they lean this way, they fall in this direction. Their chin comes up when they go back. So these are the things that we want to start to take advantage of. Let's see if we can push those buttons during the fight. So we use different cues, and I'll be like, hey, show them something. It might be a rear knee. Just pick it up and show it to them. If you get this, okay, now that's what we saw.
And then they respond. You want to be a few steps ahead. And it's a little off topic. I know we're jumping around a little bit, but the idea that an MMA school was robbed
I know.
is insane to me.
Crazy?
Like the balls. I mean, did they go in there with like AK-47s? I mean, tell me that. I mean, that story. I mean, obviously they didn't come in while you were in there.
They actually came in a couple of times. Yeah, it was like in the middle of the night, and it was the guy with the rap sheet a mile long just looking for something, and he saw an open window. So if you know anything about my gym, I'm on like the 3rd floor of a gigantic mill building.
Right.
So he figured out a way to get up onto a fire escape that's pretty high, climb the ladder, climb up onto one roof, go across that roof, climb up into another window, and squeeze into an opening maybe this big.
So you were robbed by Spider-Man.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Essentially. And not only that, he would unload the gear back down off the roof.
So he took a bunch of equipment?
Sound system and really heavy speakers and like a bunch, and he would load it right on the street, right there, just load it right out the door.
Did they catch this guy?
Yeah.
I think his punishment should have been he had to get in the cage with the fighter of your choice, even if it's you.
I did offer that.
Yeah.
I said, hey, if you find him and he wants to work out a deal, if he can do 4 minutes in the cage, then we won't press charges.
I feel like that's a reasonable
That sounds
offer.
legit, right?
Yeah, I have a feeling the police didn't like the idea.
Well, a lot of them train at my gym, and they thought it was pretty funny. But at the same time, they're like, he's probably not going to go for that one either. And then, of course, they arrested him. And with how the judicial system works, somebody posted bail, and then immediately he got out and robbed a car.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Lovely. Justice,
lovely.
ladies and
Yes,
gentlemen.
exactly.
While we're on the topic of law, how are you preparing for what's probably going to be a lockdown right now?
Yeah, it's interesting. The last one was federal, and people didn't know what to think. I didn't know what to think. Everybody was completely on board. Now it's coming to the second time around. The summertime was pretty good. Obviously, there were still COVID cases and stuff. And now it's, what they talked about, people going inside, not getting outside, air stagnant, more people are getting it. And then I think really people are just sick of not having human contact at this point. So they're doing whatever they did during the summer or whatever they want to do. And now the cases are going up. So it's a hard thing to prepare for, because if we were in Rhode Island, they wouldn't be shutting down. Like Texas isn't shutting down, Florida's not shutting down, but then these states think you should shut down. The federal government is not stepping in. So my business is literally a day-to-day activity. We do everything, or as much as we can,
stressful.
by the books. Yeah, it's like every day something changes. We keep everything clean. I'm constantly talking to the members on my team. Nobody even trains if they don't feel comfortable being there. We do the mask thing. Everybody doesn't come in without symptoms. We paid a good amount of money for one of those facial scan.
I feel like Total Recall when I go in there and I
right?
have that scan. That thing's pretty high tech. I need that for my guests. You sit down and have wow. I like that thing. Well, look, I hope. I don't even know what I hope anymore. I was listening to Joe Rogan's show from yesterday, and he had this doctor on.
I was listening to that too.
Yeah, wow, boy, that if you want to get depressed, I highly
that.
recommend that episode.
Yeah.
At one point, he said 2022, which already had me stressed. And I don't know if you get to the part where he said 2024.
Yeah.
2024, maybe we could live again. Wow, I will be off a bridge by then.
I'm not quite sure that I'm on board with that.
No, I'm not. I will drive off a bridge before 2024.
Well, you're going to weigh your options. I mean, we're not talking about the Ebola virus. I do understand that it is a serious thing, and it definitely gets a lot of people, but there's also people where They're like, oh, I had the sniffles and now I'm good. So that's the variable that people don't understand. And really what we're trying to do is not overrun the healthcare system, because they're already worked to the max. And the more people that go in there, the fuller they are. Whether, or not, like, I think COVID is so scary that if somebody tests positive for COVID, their brain could make them have more symptoms and check themselves into the hospital, and the hospital can't turn them away. So they take anybody with all types of symptoms. You might be super severe, or you just might be like, I don't know, I have COVID, I need to be here. And there's all the factors in between that. So who knows what to do? Every day is, all right, let's see what happens today.
Let me put you in where my head is as far as my constant paranoia about the future. Let's say COVID destroys everything and you lose the gym, you lose your business. What do you think you would do for work?
I would just go back to, I was a full-time musician before this, so people can always play music.
What did you play, everything?
I went to school for drums and percussion. I play a lot of bass now.
That's a nice noise.
And they're making coffee, man.
That's Steve Milk's. The foam is nice, though. Right. Go ahead, sorry.
So I mean, that's what I did full time.
You'd go back to music.
I would would go back to. I still play. I still practice all the time. I'm still always learning.
I want to hear some of your music. I feel like we should put some at the end of the show.
Okay. I'll have to send you some.
Do you have any stuff on YouTube that we could throw over interlacing?
I have an album on Spotify.
You do?
It's on
a solo album, or you're in a band?
It's in a band that I write with called Kiyoshi. And
is that like a Japanese
2-3
band?
Years ago. It's actually Japanese for quiet, but we're not always that quiet. It's a mixture. It's like a modern jazz sort of thing. Great musicians that I get an opportunity to play with for years. And we would just get together and write and do some gigs. And we were all on the... kind of like you do for comedy. Like, we were just out there like, hey man, there's an opening on this gig, we need a drummer. So we were like fill-in guys, and we also had a band together. So sometimes we were in the band together, sometimes, one guy, your buddy's in the gig and you go see him just like the comedians do, and then like, hey, you're gonna sit in, and it's kind of that same vibe. And we had a really good community in Rhode Island for that for a while, and then obviously now with COVID and everything else, there's nobody even leaving the house. All the music gigs are dead, obviously, and they were kind of going downhill with dance clubs and the.
Oh yeah, it's all going to hell. But plenty of time to sit at home and watch Beverages with Brad. Let me ask you this: as a musician, you get to have a dream concert, 3 different artists or bands. Who is your opener, your middle, and your headliner?
Alive or dead?
Alive or dead? Yeah.
Am I playing with them?
Well, that's up to you. I didn't even think that far into it, but this is your dream world, so you tell me.
That's pretty crazy. I'd have to put Frank Zappa in there somewhere, for sure, because I would always, obviously he's not around anymore, so I would have always loved to have seen the opportunity to see that band. That was like a super band, where everybody in that, like, you had to audition for that band, and he was hard as nails. If you weren't a legit musician and could sight read and could do all the crazy stuff he wanted you to do, playing odd times, forget it. He didn't want you in the band.
So he's intense.
He's intense, and everybody in that band was real intense. On the rock side of things, again, another band that probably broke the most ground out of any band would be like Led Zeppelin. You know what I mean? Because you get a chance to go back. I get to see John Bonham play live with.
So you got Zappa, you got Led Zeppelin.
Yep.
And who's? Do you know the order yet or no?
The order? Oh, who's gonna open?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's crazy. Well, I would imagine Zeppelin would have to be the headliner for popularity purposes. So if I was the guy that was actually putting the gig together, I would.
It's like Pete Stock.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then I would put. I guess the co-headliner would be Zappa. So
who's opening this whole show?
So
you?
I would probably have to find somebody more in the underground, like, sort of jazz world or something to open.
Maybe
up.
You open.
Like, put Charlie Hunter over there or something. I think that'd be kind of cool.
So there's your dream concert.
Something like this where you're forced. I mean, there's many things that I've been forced to do since COVID that I really wouldn't have put the time into doing. But now that I'm forced to do, I'm like, you're forced to have your own show right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was doing it anyways, but I definitely spend more time on it, on videos. Because what else am I going to do?
Not working on your stand-up, right? There's no like, I got a gig tomorrow, I got to work on this set and this set.
I miss those days. Those were good times.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
All right, another question. You and 4 other individuals, live or dead, fictional or real, You have to stop invading ninjas from taking over Rhode Island. Who are your 4 teammates?
Teammates? Oh, I get to pick them from my team too?
Well, it could be superheroes, it could be fictional or real human beings, live or dead, but it's you, 4 people, the 5 of you are a super team defending Rhode Island from ninjas.
Awesome. Well, I mean, if I had to go off the top of my head and pick a bunch of ninjas, I'm going to put Khabib on my team.
Okay.
I'm going to put Israel Adesanya on my team, and I need a good heavyweight in there. So
you're going all UFC here.
Yeah, let's go with Stipe. Yeah, for sure.
All right, you're going all MMA guys.
We're going against ninjas.
So wait, so it's you, Stipe. This is I'm gonna have to like put pictures up for the people who watch this who don't really follow the UFC because they're like, who the hell's Stipe? So it's you, Stipe, Khabib,
and Israel. We'll go with the champs.
All right.
Yeah.
Khabib.
I fit in there
Adesanya,
somewhere.
Stipe. Wait, Stipe. I think you only said 3 guys, right? And then
and me.
4. But that's 4.
So we get a 5-person
yeah,
team?
you could still throw in like some crazy shit in the end.
All right. Let's put Jocko in there because he's going to have the weapons.
Well, he's the strategist too.
So let's put Jocko in there. All
right.
I like that team.
For those of you who don't follow UFC, those are 4 very badass dudes he's talking about. That's a great team you got there. You know what I never knew. Did you ever compete in MMA?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. How long did you do that?
Started in like the heyday in 2005 and competed till 2012.
When you first started competing, like let's say your first match, I'm sure you remember it well.
It was on a bet.
You competed in a match on a bet.
So I'm not even a betting guy. So Matt Santos was my coach at that time, and my brother was already booked on a fight card. Now, mind you,
so he started before you, Keith.
He started before me.
Yeah. I feel like Keith just like came out of the womb fighting. Am I
well,
wrong?
he had 2 older brothers, so he's the youngest guy. So, you know, with 4 years difference between me and like 5 years or 5.5 years of my older brother, like, you know, you got to toughen up a little bit.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess he probably did.
He came out swinging. Yeah.
Yeah, he had to. And
okay, so he started competing before you.
Yeah, he got me into jiu-jitsu.
So you at least kind of got to see like where you were heading. Because I feel like it's scary to get in a cage. I wouldn't get in a cage and fight.
Well, it wasn't that. I was a musician and I didn't want to mess my hands up. So I was like, yeah, I'll train with you guys. And everybody, so we were all at Coach's house and we were watching the Pride fights. Because Pride was bigger than the UFC back then. And my brother was in the card and people were asking me, when are you going to fight? When are you going to fight? I'm like, you know, I don't really need to mess myself up like that. I'll train with you guys and, you know, I'll be a training partner. It's cool. I'm fine. I'll compete in jiu-jitsu. So then they keep busting my balls. So I said, all right, I'll tell you what. I said, if you get me a fight on this card in the next 5 minutes, I'm in. And it was literally like, hold on a sec, dial the phone. Mike, hey, I got a guy. What, wait? Oh yeah, 165. You just had an opening? All right, cool. I got him. His name's Pete. I'll put him on.
And just like that, you were booked.
Booked. What am I going to do now?
Were you nervous?
I just said in front of everybody. Yes and no. So that same fight card, obviously going up to it, I really didn't know what to expect. We're making like $100 in a sandwich, so it doesn't really matter. It was the time of MMA where...
At this point, I would work just for the sandwich.
Yeah, this is basically what we were doing. And it was the time in MMA where you would go to the weigh-in, you would weigh in. It was same-day weigh-in that day. And then you came back later and you got ready. And I've heard at a bunch of times they would be like, hey, your guy's not here. Like, what do you mean he's not here? It's like, yeah, he saw the show start and probably said,
he said, I'm going to go do something else.
I am out of here. So that would happen
That would be
a lot.
me. That's what I would do. I would get there, like, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to go get a coffee.
I watched my brother fight, and he was before me, so he fought first, and then I watched. It was very weird because they were 2 4-minute rounds. So he murdered this guy in the first round, and then the guy laid on top of him in the second round, and they called it a draw. That made me super mad. So I went, well, I'm either getting killed or I'm going to knock this guy out. So I went out gunslinging, and it ended up working out really well.
I worked out well.
Yeah.
What was your favorite experience ever competing in MMA? Do you have like one memory that sticks out above it all?
Honestly, winning. It's
Winning's
always
better
fun.
than getting your head bashed in, I'm sure, yeah.
Well, what people don't understand about MMA and the fighters, I see them realize these things for the first time, and it's the things that most people don't think are weird. Like, okay, you go into MMA, everybody comes to see you. When they go to see you, it's date night. It's party time out with the guys. They're having drinks, they're hanging out, they're dressed up. The first thing you do is show up and take your clothes off. You didn't put this into your brain. Now you're weird, now you're sitting on a stage with no clothes on, basically, and you're gonna fight another guy. Then then the other thing that people don't prepare for is, when is the last time you got punched in the face and everybody cheered?
Yeah, it's weird. That can't be fun.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's something that you have to come over. And a lot of people, that takes their legs out from them. They crumble. They're not really that hurt. Their body just goes into this.
Well, there's got to be all this other psychological things going on. It's like, it's a much more painful version of stand-up comedy where, I mean, physically speaking, where, there's like, you have friends that are hilarious, but if you shove them on a stage in front of 200 strangers with a spotlight on them, it's a different ball game.
You got it. Sometimes you're the best guy in the gym, but when the lights come on,
it's a different ball game.
And I've had guys that aren't the best guy in the gym, but when the lights come on, they
excel.
They're killers.
Yeah.
And people look at him like, man, that guy's like doing that well. I could do that. And they get in there like, oh my God, like they don't care. Conor McGregor doesn't care about that.
Yeah.
They find ways to channel that.
Yeah, he loves the spotlight. He loves
it.
The excitement of performing. He's more of a performer than anything, really. Yeah.
Right.
Who do you think wins the Tyson Jones fight?
Wow. I know the word exhibition on that one is a crock of shit.
Yeah, well, as soon as somebody gets hit in the face, it's going to be fucking bananas.
Well, you saw Tyson's last exhibition, and it was with headgear, and he knocked the guy out.
Yeah.
In an exhibition. Like, he's not going in there to mess around, and you listened to Rogan, so you know
I did,
Jones is not messing around either.
Yeah.
I really don't know how that match is going to go. They made it so they're only 2-minute rounds, so I think there's going to be a lot
Which I think
of
is kind of
strikes in 2
bullshit.
minutes. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
It's bullshit. They're treating it like they're too old. But I think somebody gets knocked out. Who it is, I don't know. But I feel like if it's like, I feel like Tyson has to win in the first or second round. But they're only 2-minute rounds.
That's true.
That's you know.
But I feel like the deeper it gets, I feel like Jones has the advantage for sure. I mean, he fought like not that long ago.
Yeah.
Where like Tyson hasn't fought in a long time, unless who knows? Maybe he's been like beating guys up in the alleyway or something.
No,
he's a crazy
been growing weed. And
that's true. He's been getting high as a kite.
Yeah,
that's what he's been doing.
His thing. But now, so his thing was he was hypnotized by his coach back in the day. And I believe that trigger is always there for him.
Yeah, maybe like the ghost of Custom Auto will visit him like Obi-Wan Kenobi and get him ready for this thing. You know what I mean? Who the hell knows? That'd be awesome.
That's great.
I think that's it. I don't think I have anything else to ask. I really appreciate you doing the show.
Man, thanks for having me on here. And, support this show for sure.
And support Triforce MMA. It's a great school. It's the best school around. And I hope to God that you and I can continue to work so that I don't have to see you at the Amazon factory.
Yeah, we'll both
I really
be
want
working
to do
side
that.
by side when they shut both of our businesses down completely. And basically, we'll be working. Everybody's going to be working for Amazon. We'll be half robots and half people. And
cogs in the machine.
That's it.
And me and Pete's going to be teaching me wrist locks and the bread line in the future. That's really, remember the old days where we could wrestle? Those were good times.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Now get 6 feet away from me, please. You're making me feel weird.
Pete, thanks for doing the show.
Thanks,
man.
brother. I appreciate it.
Thank
Awesome.
you.